Welcome back to HBM's Cryptid-Corner, folks. I'm your host, Henry May, and I'm thrilled you've decided to join me on this adventure into the unknown. You know, ever since I was a kid, I've been captivated by stories of mysterious creatures lurking just beyond the veil of our understanding. Cryptids, as we call them, represent the untamed corners of our world, the places where myth and reality intertwine. Today, we're diving. Buckle up, grab your magnifying glasses and your thinking caps, and get ready to explore the world of cryptids. Remember, in the world of cryptozoology, the truth is often stranger than fiction. Let's get started.
Daniel Perez has released a Patterson-Gimlin film bibliography. This is from his website, bigfoottimes.net. It is available there. Now, he wrote in his latest newsletter, the Bigfoot Times newsletter, that he's writing and releasing a companion piece to Bigfoot at Bluff Creek, which will be an extensive bibliography on the Patterson-Gimlin film. I would imagine a lot of this material will be part of that. I think that's going to be a tremendous companion piece to Bigfoot at Bluff Creek. And I highly recommend everybody get a hold of it. I think it's going to be a terrific book, or maybe a booklet, I'm not sure. But he's talking about 55 pages for this bibliography. I think that's going to be tremendous, to be quite honest. I'm looking forward to purchasing that particular reference book and bibliography. I'm sure it'll be a bestseller. Family's Story. Bigfoot siege in Oklahoma's, May-HBM Mountains and the hunt for cryptid evidence. A chilling tale of a Bigfoot siege has emerged from the backwoods of southeastern Oklahoma, and it's one that's sure to send shivers down your spine. The YouTube channel Backwoods Bigfoot Stories recently shared a video titled Bigfoot Siege at Honabi, which tells the story of a family who experienced 2 years of terrifying nighttime encounters with a mysterious creature. The video begins by describing the isolated community of Honabi, located in the May-HBM Mountains. This remote area is known for its rugged terrain and vast wilderness, making it the perfect setting for a Bigfoot sighting. The family in question lived in a secluded homestead miles away from their nearest neighbor. And I remember I read about the siege at Honabi in Tom Powell's book, The Locals. That was the first I'd ever heard about it. Or read about it, for that matter. So I thought it was a fascinating case. It's still one of the most fascinating cases, to me anyway, in my opinion. It's a fascinating case. It involved several BFRO members who came to investigate it, I believe, in the year 2000. And they witnessed the family coming out on the porch, or at least the male family members coming out on the front porch and shooting into the night. There was supposedly blood found, but for some reason it was not collected. I think as it rained. I don't think they were able to collect the blood before the rain. But there were stories of eyes reflecting light, or glowing eyes, as it were, which that's what they saw out in the forest. So it's a fascinating story, a fascinating account. I'm going to include, of course, the link to this in the description below. Witness in 55, Alberta's humanoid brown bear-like creature, Roe's affidavit. Now this is about the William Roe account, but Roe is actually spelled R-O-E, not R-O-W. A fascinating account of a 1955 Bigfoot encounter has recently surfaced on YouTube, and it's definitely worth a watch for any serious Sasquatch enthusiasts. The video, posted by the channel Journey to the Other Side, features an interview with a gentleman named William Roe, who claims to have had a close encounter with a female Bigfoot in the wilderness of Alberta, Canada. Well, first of all, it wasn't in Alberta, it was in British Columbia, at Teton-Cache Mountain. According to Roe, he initially thought the creature was a grizzly bear, but as it stood up on two legs and came into clearer view, he realized it was something entirely different. Roe estimated the figure to be 6 foot tall, 3 feet across, and weighing around 300 pounds. He noted that the creature's chest indicated that it was a female and that she was extremely muscular, with arms that reached down to her knees. Now, I'm not sure if this is actually an interview with William Roe, an actual interview, or what. Now, Todd Prescott has released a new audio version, of an interview with William Roe from 1958 or 57 or 58, which was an interview with William Roe by Jack Webster. Now, Jack Webster may not be a familiar name to some, but it's familiar to me because that's the same individual who interviewed Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin on October 26, 1967, when they were in British Columbia showing the PG film, the Patterson-Gimlin film, to scientists at the University of BC in Vancouver at UBC. So that name is very familiar to me anyway. So I'm sure the interview, this is the interview right here. And I'm sure it's a great interview because William Roe had an encounter he wasn't expecting, but it changed his life. Now, interestingly enough, not very many Bigfooters actually met William Roe, if any. I'm not so sure. I know John Green never met him. Hell, he spoke to him over the phone, but never actually met him. And of course, back in those days, everything traveled by letter or telephone or telegraph. It's not like what we have with social media nowadays or email. That wasn't available back then. So, we're talking over 70 years ago, almost 70 years ago. This interview took place. And of course, it's tremendous that Todd Prescott is including archived and rare audio and video like this. It's a tremendous resource. And I say Excelsior to Todd Prescott for doing this kind of stuff for us. It gives us a more historical perspective on the early days of Sasquatch research. And I appreciate that. YouTuber Lazy Cowboy recently released a brand new part of his Patterson-Gimlin film Recreation. And he did a heck of a job on it, I thought. It's really well done. And if you subscribe to his channel, you'll see that he did one back in October 20th, which he released. It's amazing stuff, it really is. And I'm going to, of course, include the link to this in the description below for you guys to check out. It's absolutely amazing, regardless of your opinion on the film. Whether you think it's real or a hoax, Lazy Cowboy is doing some incredible and important work. And I, for one, appreciate him. See it. Nightmarish deep-sea fish spotted swimming in shallower waters. The anglerfish, also known as the black sea devil, has a mouthful of sharp teeth and a glowing lure to catch prey in the ocean's midnight zone. Trying to play the video. A very rare fish sighting is making a splash on social media. A deep-sea anglerfish with its mouthful of sharp teeth was spotted near the surface of the water near the Canary Islands off the coast of Africa earlier this month. The videos and pictures were taken by Conduit Tenerife, a Spanish NGO that researches sharks and rays in the Canary Islands, and marine photographer David Jaron Borguna. According to the organization, the fish is a so-called black sea devil, known by its scientific name Melanochidus johnsoni. They typically swim between 650 and 6,500 feet below the ocean's surface. This range is known as the bathypelagic zone or midnight zone. According to the NOAA, the temperature there remains constant, around 39 degrees, because sunlight is unable to penetrate water at that depth. Water pressure can climb over 5,850 pounds per square inch. The research team said that there have been very few sightings of this kind of fish, and they aren't sure why she was so far from the depths of the ocean. That is one ugly son of a gun, isn't it? Look at that. Sheesh. That is an ugly son of a gun. But it's a rare fish sighting, as we can see. It's an ugly fish, but I think it's one that's very important for the ecosystem. Pretty fascinating story on that, too. Very interesting. Witness describes 6-foot Bigfoot in yard on YouTube's Sasquatch Experience podcast. Now, this is, of course, the podcast I co-host, along with Sean Forker, James Baker, Matt Arner, and Vance Nesbitt. Now, Vance wasn't with us that night, but the other three co-hosts were. In a recent video from the YouTube channel Sasquatch Experience, host Steve Coles, also known as the Squatch Detective, and the Fork Chop sit down for an exciting crossover episode. As two of the most senior podcasters on Bigfoot, they have a wealth of knowledge and experience in the field of cryptozoology. Steve Coles, they actually spelled his name right for once. I can't believe it. Brings his background in private investigating, loss prevention, evidence analysis, and forensics to the table, which he has used to build his framework for investigating cryptozoological and paranormal phenomena. While he used to be heavily involved in the paranormal community, he has set back a bit due to the weird and sometimes physically harmful experiences that can come with that type of research. During the episode, Steve and the Fork Chop discussed Steve's new book, Bigfoot, A Scientific Examination, which is his 5th book on the subject. The book is based on a scientific paper Steve wrote on the psychology of Bigfoot witnesses. It includes 49 separate scientific papers broken up into 3 categories, as well as an introduction and epilogue scientific paper. So, I definitely highly recommend everybody check out our podcast, The Sasquatch Experience. You'll be able to see the episode through this link. And if you like what you see, hey, give us a subscribe. Give our videos a like. And share to your friends. Let your friends know about the Sasquatch Experience, because we enjoy doing the show, and we always have a good time when we're putting the show on. It's usually live every couple of Monday nights at 9 Eastern, 8 Central. And we have a podcast. We actually release it as an audio podcast either the next day or the day after. So check us out. You won't be disappointed. Another thing you won't be disappointed about is falkmonster.net. This is Lyle Blackburn's website for the Boggy Creek Monster, or the Beast of Boggy Creek. And sightings, in the sightings tab, let's check it out. In the sightings tab, I'm sure it'll be coming up here in a second, there are new sightings as recent as 2024. At least a couple of them. So for those who say, well, that the phenomenon of the Boggy Creek Monster faded back in the 70s, well, nothing could be further from the truth. They never really stopped or even started in 1971. I would imagine a lot of people assume, well, it started back in 71 with the Bobby Ford case and the Ford family. No. There are reports that go all the way back to 1908. So we're talking over 100 years. And there have been reports over the years that have come up. So for those who think, well, this whole thing started with the Ford incident, well, you need to do your homework and read Lyle Blackburn's Beast of Boggy Creek book, and also Beyond Boggy Creek, and you'll get yourself more educated about what's really been going on in the Falk area since the 20th century. And speaking of the Boggy Creek Monster and famous portrayals, legendofboggycreek.com. I recommend everybody check it out. There's a trailer, and I'll show you all the trailer, the official trailer for the Legend of Boggy Creek, the Blu-ray, the DVD and Blu-ray. Taking a little bit to load up. Here we go. Here we go.
Here in this primitive river-bottom wilderness in southern Arkansas, along with deer, duck, crane, and beaver, lurks a creature that walks upright. Whether it is a man, a monster, or a myth, no one really knows. What we do know is the people around Fouke, Arkansas say they have seen such a creature nearly 250 times since 1954. And that this creature, whatever it is, emits one of the most terrifying sounds ever recorded. The Legend of Boggy Creek, rated G.
And I would imagine at that time in 1972, it was pretty terrifying for a G-rated movie. With all the stuff that happened in the movie. And no spoilers if you haven't seen it. But hey, I think most of us have seen it and enjoyed it and loved it. I have the Blu-ray of it. I also have a 2014 DVD of it. Of this movie, but I also have a Blu-ray and DVD combo from 2020. I need to get the new one, which has commentary by Lyle Blackburn. The 50th anniversary edition. This is it right here, the Blu-ray. All kinds of cool merchandise for folks. T-shirts, long sleeve T-shirt. The hoodie is unavailable, unfortunately. Movie poster, baseball cap, Boggy Creek casebook by Lyle Blackburn. I believe you can get that signed from his website, Mastro Bizarro. This particular book. They also have the 4K of Legend of Boggy Creek. And of course, 50th anniversary edition, Blu-ray and DVD. I imagine every single one of those has the commentary by Lyle Blackburn intact. So in addition to seeing a great movie, you get a little bit of insight from the author of The Beast of Boggy Creek and Beyond Boggy Creek. So I highly recommend everybody go to legendsofboggycreek.com and check it out. Now here's one that I'm sure will raise some eyebrows. A California lawmaker introduces bill to make Bigfoot the official state cryptid. A California lawmaker has put forward a bill that would designate Bigfoot as the state's official cryptid. According to a local media report, Assembly member Chris Rogers introduced the legislation on Friday. That'd be last Friday. The fairly straightforward proposal reads, existing law establishes the state flag and the state's emblems, including, among other things, the golden poppy is the official state flower, and the California redwood is the official state tree. This bill would state the intent of the legislature to enact legislation that would designate Bigfoot as the official state cryptid. His district includes the town of Willow Creek, which of course is known as the gateway to Bigfoot country. There was an attempt to name Sasquatch the official cryptid of Washington State, but it failed to come to fruition in 2018 and 2019. Amusingly, part of the reason for the legislation was to claim Bigfoot before Oregon could, though the state has seemingly shown no interest in recognizing Sasquatch in such a fashion. Well, it would be interesting if this actually happened. We'd love to see it happen for the Golden State, that's for sure. I'm wondering if this is a rerun story, but I'll tell it anyway. Esther's 20-year quest, real encounters and evidence of Bigfoot. A new video has recently surfaced on YouTube featuring the experiences of Esther, a Bigfoot researcher who has been searching for the elusive creature for over 20 years. The video, titled Bigfoot the Evidence, Wild Man, Bigfoot, Sasquatch Tracks and Prints by the YouTube channel The Truth Through Jesus Christ, offers fascinating insight into Esther's lifelong quest to uncover the truth about Bigfoot. As a child growing up in Payne County, Oklahoma, Esther had several encounters with a thing in the woods that left her terrified and scarred. Or maybe that should be scared. Maybe it's scarred, I don't know. It wasn't until she watched the movie Legend of Boggy Creek that she realized what she had been experiencing was likely Bigfoot. This seems to be a story they've already shown on this website, but I'll include the link to it below anyway, just in case there's those of you who are not familiar with the story. So the link will be below. Finally, Ape Canyon incident of 1924. Expert Mark Marcel's Bigfoot evidence. A new video on YouTube has caught the attention of Bigfoot enthusiasts, featuring an interview with Mark Marcel, who is considered the foremost authority on the Ape Canyon event of 1924. The video, posted by the Uncomfortable Podcast channel, delves into the details of this classic Bigfoot encounter which took place in the Pacific Northwest. Marcel, who became obsessed with the Ape Canyon incident 15 to 17 years ago, has uncovered a wealth of information, including newspaper articles and document evidence that had never been brought to light before. The video discusses the events surrounding the incident, including the main character who fired the first shot and the individuals who accompanied him. Now, Mark wrote a booklet about the Ape Canyon incident a few years ago, and I have a copy of that booklet, but he's actually writing a full-length book about the Ape Canyon incident, which I would highly recommend, because he's a guy who does his homework and does meticulous research. So I definitely recommend that book when it's released. And Mark is a great guy, from what I understand. I've never met him, but he is a great guy. And we're talking about an incident that's over 100 years old. And the booklet he wrote is very highly researched, greatly researched, and meticulously researched. And I don't know if he still has any copies of it available or not. If he does, ask him for a copy. He might send it to you. And that's going to do it for this week. We want to thank you very much for tuning in. You guys are the heart of the show. I always say that, but I always mean it, and I will continue to do this as long as you guys want me to. And for the last decade, I've been doing this in vodcast form, video podcast form. And I will continue to do this, like I said, as long as you guys want me to. Because I enjoy it, and I appreciate my audiences. And I enjoy doing this. You could say this is definitely a labor of love for me. So, until next week, y'all be good and be good at it. This is HBM's Cryptid Corner.